ശ്രീ വെങ്കിട്ടരമണൻ 130 വാക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഷോർട്ട് ആൻഡ് സ്പീഡ് ഡിക്റ്റേഷൻ. ഈ പറയുന്ന ഡിക്റ്റേഷൻ നിങ്ങൾ 3 or 4 ടൈംസ് എഴുതിയാൽ SSC, KGT, ഹയർ ഇതെല്ലാം വളരെ നല്ല രീതിയിൽ പാസ്സാവാൻ സാധിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ഓക്കെ, വി ക്യാൻ സ്റ്റാർട്ട്. I consider it an honor to have been invited to deliver this lecture this year, and I must express my deep gratitude for it to the trust and especially to the chairman. My subject for today's discussion is banker and corporate customer. By corporate customer, I mean the large-scale or medium-scale industrial or commercial borrower in the private, public or joint sector. Today, the banks deposit total 10,000 crores of rupees, and more than half of the total credit goes to the large and medium industry. Industrialization has preceded space, though the economy's growth rate may leave such to be desired. The quantities and variety of goods and services produced are such as might have seemed too ambitious 2 decades ago. It is perhaps a characteristic of a developing economy that investment in both private and public sectors should keep running ahead of the real savings. Expenditure also runs ahead of income. The gulf becomes wider whenever exigencies, internal or external, eat into those savings and upset the income expenditure budgets. Our governments, both central and state, have been running budgetary deficits which have assumed large proportions in recent years. In addition to the government's deficit financing, net bank credit to the private sector is also responsible for increasing the money supply. Under the circumstances, the Reserve Bank has to act and impose a variety of restraints on bank lendings, and banks become susceptible to those, particularly when they have to turn to the lender of the last resort. This year's restraints were remarkable for the elements of both novelty and severity, and their complaints of banks involve a degree of harshness too. The purpose of these restraints is not to forbid expansion of credit altogether, but only to check it, ensuring at the same time that the genuine produce needs are met. As far as large industrial borrowers are concerned, they are no doubt our valued customers. I'm afraid they must now reconcile themselves to the existing socio-economic priorities despite their continuing importance. Bank credit takes the form of primarily short-term working funds and to some extent of term loans. Capital must from real resources available for the creation of productive assets. I think it will be appropriate at this stage to look back at the changing pattern of the relationship between the banker and the corporate customer. Those were the good old days when resources were plentiful and bankers used to watch out for avenues of deploying funds, their concern being primarily in the safety of loan funds. Now, the economic and industrial scene has become transformed. Happily, a new class of entrepreneurs has come to the surface, and their base is being broadened. Independent companies unconnected with any house are being formed. Public sector companies have also made headway. Top management has been diverse from ownership. The accent is on the professionalization. Above all, with the nationalization of the big commercial banks, the outlook bankers have changed. It is this climate that has reduced the importance of security without eliminating in credit decision making, and therefore it is the banker who has to satisfy himself that it is in the hands of a borrower of integrity and competence that the affairs of the company are moving in the proper direction, and that if a storm comes, there are reasonable chances of it being weathered. The emphasis has thus shifted towards good management in developing the new pattern of relationship with the corporate customer. The banker will ensure not only the safety of his funds but will also fulfill his social responsibility to set aside an increased portion of available credit for priority sectors and weaker sections of the society, and to see that only the clearly established minimum needs of large houses, both in private